Big brute facts. All the thing to Yahuwah. Hallelujah. Yahuwah. Yahuwah. Big sting. All the thing to the great King. Shalom, Mitch Pot. I pray that all is well in Yahushua HaMashiach. A little tired, still a little early. Been up since like 5 something. No, still ain't get all the way up. But I definitely want to get this on before I head out. All the thing to Yahuwah. So as the title says, how to draw closer to Yahuwah. And there's really a short answer to that. And the short answer is, the more you read His Word, the more you draw close to the Most High Yahuwah. On that note, watching videos and stuff is definitely, they have their pluses. To read the Word of Yahuwah yourself and to get closer to the Word of Yahuwah yourself, to where you wake up early in the morning and just want to read it. Before you go to sleep. This is truly how we draw closer to Yahuwah, by digging into His Word. The more we dig into His Word, the closer we draw to Him, which will change our actions. The more we read His Word will change our actions, which will align us up with His righteousness and allow us to be able to sit in His company. Like a righteous king does not want wickedness in his presence. Shalom, shalom, sis. Hallelujah. A righteous king does not want wickedness in his presence. I'm not even a king, and I don't want wickedness in my presence. You get what I'm saying? All this thing to Yahuwah. So on that note, we'll just jump right into the scrolls. Barak Yahuwah. All this thing to the king. So we'll go right into it. Psalm chapter 65, verse 2. O thou that hearest prayer, unto thee shall all flesh come. All this thing to Yahuwah. So that's saying right there that all flesh is welcome to the Most High. But there are stipulations to that invite. And we'll just go right to Psalm chapter 28, verse 9. He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be abomination. Sheesh. All this thing to you. So most of us are familiar with that. So let's just take an instance. Like a lot of these Book of Tov, Shalom, all this thing to Yahuwah. A lot of these, I don't even just want to say Christians, but a lot of brethren, that they think that they have the Most High with them, but they don't even adhere to His law. So how can you be close to someone and you're not even following their instructions? You get what I'm saying? It's like you have a sensei. Let's just say you're in karate and you have a kung fu master and he's telling you to throw this block, throw this jab, on the hook. But you saying that you're drawing closer to him in the things that he's teaching you, but yet you're doing the exact opposite of what he's telling you to do. Or you're just standing there not doing anything. How can you really be drawing closer to someone ignoring the instructions that they have given us? And it just doesn't make any sense. So when people say that, oh, I got the Most High with me, I'm blessed, I'm this and that, how? You're not even listening to His instructions. So your prayer are abomination. You get what I'm saying? So that's another way to continue to draw closer to the Most High Yahuwah. We know that His law was given to us for our safekeeping, and we'll continue to go on to it, because your actions, not just your words or your beliefs, your actions, all this thing to Yahuwah, is what truly draws you closer to the Most High. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with your wives according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. All this thing to Yahuwah. So a husband's prayer, a man's prayer, can be hindered depending on the way he's treating his wife, which your actions is either leading you to Yahuwah or drawing you away from Yahuwah. It's either one or two ways you're going. You can't go both ways. We can't go east and west at the same time. You get what I'm saying? So you can say all day with your mouth, I believe in Yahuwah, this and that, but then you turn around and treat your wife a certain way. That's hindering your prayers, which is, of course, leading you away from the Most High Yahuwah, not drawing you closer. All this thing to Yahuwah. To continue on. Isaiah chapter 55, verse 7. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto Yahuwah, and He will have mercy upon him, and unto our Lord, for He will abundantly pardon. All this thing to Yahuwah. So we see here that Yahuwah's will is to have mercy and pardon us. But we must forsake our own ways. We must forsake our own thoughts. Just meaning the thoughts of the flesh, the ways of the flesh, the desires of the heart. Like when we have the chance to do something we ought not to do. Let's just say fornication. When you have the opportunity to fornicate multiple times. But you like, no, you know what? All this thing to Yahuwah, that's not what I should be doing, so that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to adhere to the right. I'm going to forsake my own way, which would be going to have sex with this woman or this man for a woman. In my own thoughts saying, you know what, He'll forgive me, or this is okay because He said be fruitful and multiply. You get what I'm saying? When we forsake those type of worldly thoughts and carnal thoughts, we begin to draw closer to Yahuwah, especially when we ask him, Father, what it is that you want from me. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we go in prayer telling him what we want, but we forget to say, Father, what do you want? Because at the end of the day, he's the great orchestrator. He's the one running the show. I'm tired of going outside of his will. I don't know about y'all, but I'm so tired of going outside his will, getting bust on my head, smacked on my back, because I ain't turning around and ask the Most High, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? But, you know, with this walk, we're just gradually growing. And I began to understand that it's not about what I want. Remember, even the quote-unquote, the Father's Prayer, what they call it, the LORD's prayer, let thy will be done. And we forget that part. So the more we ask Yahuwah to let his will be done, of course, the closer we're getting in tune, the closer we're drawn to him, and the more we're getting in tune with his ways. All this thing to Yahuwah. Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 through 7. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto Yahuwah. And the peace of Yahuwah, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and your minds through Yahushua HaMashiach. So once again, there it is, taking our prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, taking them to the Most High. And as I always say, man, the best way to end the prayer is, nevertheless thy will be done, just as Yahushua HaMashiach did it. When he was like, oh Father, if thou could have just take this cup away from me. He said, nevertheless thy will be done. He even knew what he had to experience. He knew the things that he was about to experience was going to be very treacherous to his body, his soul, his mental state. But at the end of his prayer, he said, nevertheless, thy will be done. And that's a very important part of the prayer. Because a lot of times, like if we go all the way back to the book of Samuel, when the people was praying for a king, a man to be king over them, Yahuwah warned them multiple times and said, listen, you really don't want this. And they kept praying for you. They kept praying for a king, a man as a king. So Yahuwah gave them exactly what they asked for. And guess what? Saul ended up being a treacherous, wicked king. But Yahuwah warned them. All this thing to Yahuwah. So that's just to say, the best way to stay inside his way and his guideline is to always end the prayer with, nevertheless thy will be done. Which once again is showing him, Father, I want your ways, not my ways. I'm drawing closer to you, getting away from me. Which is we have to do that. Because boy, the flesh will lead you to the dungeon full of lions and dragons. All this thing to Yahuwah. Psalm chapter 55 verse 22. Cast thy burden upon Yahuwah, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. Hallelujah. Yahuwah. So this all comes from getting closer to him. Drawing closer to him, you're able to say, you know what, Father, I got this situation right here in front of me, looking crazy at the moment, but guess what? I'm going to walk by faith and not by sight. And I'm going to cast my burden upon Yahuwah, which just means, okay, Father, I believe that your way is better. I believe that you have the outcome already concluded, and that your decision is the best decision for me. Whether it be the decision I would have liked it for it to be, or whether it be a decision totally different, I believe and trust wholeheartedly that that's the way it should be, because Yahuwah ordained it. Which once again is just showing faith and trust, amunah, which is the Hebrew word, amunah, and belief in the Most High Yahuwah, which we all know we can't please him without that. And we'll continue on. Joshua 1:8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then shalt thou make thy way prosperous, and then shalt thou have good success. So there goes the secret right there. That's the real secret. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but meditate in it day and night. Meaning that even when you walking, if you don't have the book in front of you, contemplate on the things that you were reading earlier or the day before. You know, I like to read every day, every morning, all this thing to Yahuwah. Just, continue to let his word be watered in me, not just planted. When we plant them seeds, they got to be watered in order to grow. So we water it with more word of Yahuwah. All this thing to Yahuwah. So the meditating day in and day out is, okay, when I be out there working, pressure cleaning, whatever I'm doing that day, painting, whatever Yahuwah got me doing, I be humming, hymning, verses, songs to the Most High, just to keep them on my mind, man, because at the end of the day, we're in a treacherous world, and I'm not going to say it's easy to fall back into temptation, because once you get to a certain point, temptation ain't nothing. And when the body and the ruach in agreement, like bro say, it's nothing. It's like, okay, I had that thought, but there's no way I'm going to do that. Shalom, Maki, but there's no way I'm going to do that. And I'm just not getting to that stage to where it's no more slips. It's just all attraction. But it comes from diligence and seeking Yahuwah and Shalom, and seeking Yahuwah in everything that I was doing. I was on the roof one day, and the roof was like very steep. And my cousin, big dude, about 6'3", 6'4", scared, super scared, but I'm up there just straight trusting in Yahuwah. You get what I'm saying? So the difference was the belief. Like, he was like, bro, I can't be up here. I got to get off this roof. I'm like, man, I'm good. I'm super good. You know, I got Yahuwah. So I stayed up there on that roof. That's just because I know for a fact that my ways, I'm doing my best to get my ways out of the way and letting Yahuwah way do what he want to do. Period. I'm drawing closer to Yahuwah saying, Father, I know you got me. If I follow this roof and break my neck, then that was your will. Or you going to tell me to get out this roof. You get what I'm saying? Just drawing closer to him, getting out of my own flesh, because I probably would have been scared up there. That roof was pretty steep. That thing was very steep. All esteem to Yahuwah. But, you know, I'm just doing my best to continue to stay close as possible to the Most High Yahuwah. And there goes the fear. There's no need to fear. All esteem to Yahuwah. When you got the Most High Yahuwah with you truly, and you know you're doing the right thing, knowing that you just batting down all these demons. You get what I'm saying? I'm not going to call none of my people demons, but the demons be attacking you through your desires. You get what I'm saying? And if you have not grasped hold on self-control, then you'll fall. That's why fasting is important. If you could fast for 3 days with no food and no water, you can control your body to do anything you want it to do. And you can stop it from doing stuff you don't want it to do. So fasting, you get spiritual gifts, but you also get a mental power. Like, listen, I just stopped myself from eating for 3 days. Shalom, Maki. And ain't drank nothing for 3 days. Then hold on. Temptation shouldn't be nothing. This beautiful woman shouldn't be nothing. Or this cigarette, for whoever smokes cigarettes, shouldn't be nothing. This bottle of liquor shouldn't be nothing. You get what I'm saying? It's just growth in the Most High Yahuwah, drawing closer to his ways, doing more of what he wants, way less of what we want. All this thing to Yahuwah. Psalm chapter 19. Verse 14, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Yahuwah, my strength and my redeemer. So once again, back to what I was saying, the words that you speak and the meditation of your heart, which is connected to the mind, make sure them things always in line with Yahuwah. This is once again how we continue to show that we're doing our best to draw close. And King Daud, like, listen, Father, let the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you. Meaning whatever I'm thinking, whatever I'm speaking, let it be acceptable to you. We should always seek to please Yahuwah. That's the only way to truly show that we're doing our best to draw close to him. Always seek to please Yahuwah. Period. No other option. Always seek to please Yahuwah. Hallelujah. Yahuwah. Let's continue on. Psalm chapter 1, verses 1 through 3. Baruch, or blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the wicked, nor standeth in the way of the sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of Yahuwah. Hallelujah. And in his law doeth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. All this thing to Yahuwah. So once again, delight in the law of Yahuwah. This is how we draw close to Yahuwah. It's not just all this thing to Yahuwah, Shabbat. All this thing to Yahuwah, Shalom, sis. All this thing to the King. It's not just reading the word. Is it really getting in tune with your heart? You get what I'm saying? Is it, Shalom, sis? Is it getting in tune with your heart? Is this something that you love to do? Is this something that you seek to do? Not, dang, I got to do this because I feel like I'm going to go to hell if I don't do it. Or no, this is really what I want to do. I'm not even concerned about hell. Yes, it's there. But when I talk to people, I don't even talk about hell. It's there if they want to discuss it. But I talk about the riches of the kingdom because I'm not even thinking about hell. Because I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do to get to the kingdom. So why should I even be worried about hell? It's there for those who ain't obedient. Big facts. Absolutely. But I'm focused on the great gates. You get what I'm saying? Them pearly things. Because I'm walking through all this thing to Yahuwah and taking many as I can with me. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. So once again, delighting in the law of Yahuwah is not just, oh, it's the Shabbat. Let me keep the Shabbat. Oh, let me read the word because I got... No, you got to want to do those things. Just like you used to want to go out to the club. You used to want to watch this and listen to that. That got to be the delight of your heart now. You get what I'm saying? People have conversations with me like, is that all you talk about? Well, hey, if you don't want to hear it, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to talk about the ways of the world with you anymore. You get what I'm saying? I done lived them too much. I can converse with the most goonest goon, or I can converse with one of the most intelligent people on this earth. But it's always going to go back to the scripts. And even the intelligent people, with Shalom Maki, with their belief in the science and the things that they've been taught in school, when we begin to show them different things in the scripts, then it goes to shake their belief and they change the conversation. They change the subject. It's happened plenty of times. All this thing to you, but I'm sticking to the script. I don't care what nobody say. Well, ain't nothing better than this word. All this thing to you. So now here we go. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 6. But without faith, it is impossible to please Yahuwah. For he that cometh to Yahuwah must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. See, notice that word diligently. That don't just mean read the book once a day. That means when you read that book, get the true understanding of that. And it only comes from Yahuwah. James chapter 1, verse 5. Anyone who lack wisdom, seek Yahuwah. He'll give it to you freely. You get what I'm saying? So, excuse me. It's not just a thing of, oh, okay, I read a chapter today. I read 2 chapters today. I'm super good. No, what did you take from that? Did you really take something from that? Are you really trying to get rid of the old you and refresh that thing with the new you, the you of Yahuwah, which is the best version of you possible? And it takes steps. It's an order. It's like you going to the gym. You got to work out to get them chest muscles right. You got to continue to go right to get them arms right. You can't just go one day and boom, you blew up, you super good. No, it's a continual process. That's why Yahuwah said never get full. Continue to drink and eat off his word. Bottom line, can't never get full. I don't care what level you get to, it's always a higher level, because remember, Yahuwah is infinite. He sits in the Araboth, which is the 10th layer of the heavens, which we ain't even get that goodness in the KJV, but there's 10 levels of heaven, and it gets super deep. But he sits on the Araboth, the highest of the high, looking down upon everything, all this thing to Yahuwah. He's infinite. So is his wisdom, and so is his knowledge. You can never get enough of Yahuwah. Big facts. All this thing to the king. Romans chapter 10, verse 13 through 17. For whosoever shall call upon the name of Yahuwah shall be saved. How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard? And how should they hear without a preacher? But they have not obeyed the good news. For saith Yahuwah, who hath believed, for saith Isaiah, thus saith Yahuwah, who hath believed our report? So then faith come by hearing, and hearing by the word of Yahuwah. There we go right there. Faith comes by hearing the word of Yahuwah. And like I always say, the videos, they good to watch, all this thing to Yahuwah. The videos are great to watch, but it's nothing like reading it for yourself. That's why a lot of times, some of the people in the video tell you read along. Like I always recommend read along. It's something different when you read the words. Like I've watched videos before, and then when I went and got the scripts and pulled it out with them, it was like a whole different it's like life, a whole nother life just came. You know what I'm saying? In a good way, of course. All this thing to Yahuwah. So once again, faith come by hearing, hearing the word of Yahuwah. And without faith, it's impossible to please him. The only way to draw close to him, all this thing to Yahuwah. All this thing to Yahuwah says, the only way to draw close to him continually is to take time out. If you was going to watch this or do something for yourself for this hour, cancel that and set that thing to Yahuwah. Cancel that and say, okay, Yahuwah, I was about to go take me a walk. I was going to take me a run. No, I'm going to sit down and sit my butt right here and read this word and ask you for the understanding. Just to prove to him, which he already knows all things, but just to show your worth. Remember, scripture, better believe his name is important, all this thing to Yahuwah. See my necklace? Yahuwah be his thing. Big fast. And this is a great conversation piece, a conversation starter. But anyway, so with that being said, you can't come to Yahuwah lacking. You can't come to Yahuwah lacking in actions. He said, show forth works worthy of repentance. Meaning that, show me something that will make me be like, okay, I'll forgive this person. Not just saying, I'm reading your word every day. No, your actions got to change and your thoughts got to change even within you. Because remember, Satan attacks your mind. If Satan can't get your mind, he can't get your body. You get what I'm saying? Once he can get your mind, then he can get your emotions, then your emotions lead to your actions. So if you could knock Satan up out of there, and the more you pour Yahuwah in you, the more Satan got to go. There's no question about it. It's like you take a cup full of juice and you run it under water. That juice eventually gonna get up out that cup. We all know that. That's simple. Simple science. You go ahead and run that just like Yahuwah. You run that good water, Yahuwah, through your body, through your brain, as much as possible. Eventually, all that dirt and that wickedness is gonna come up out of you. And I know for experience, I'm not even in any type of way enticed by the stuff I used to be enticed by. A lot of it really appalls me that I was even into those type of things. Because that's only because the word of Yahuwah has taken a hold. And that's all this thing to the great king, man. I'm just grateful. Barak the king. So, here we go. Faith come by hearing and hearing the word of Yahuwah. Matthew chapter 19, verse 17. I seen somebody put John 14, 15. Absolutely. If you love me, keep my commandments. And that's another way you are drawn close to the person. And this is what this whole thing is based on. Keeping the law, keeping the commandments. That's the only way to draw close to Yahuwah. Not just going to church once a day. Or not even just keeping the Shabbat. What are you doing throughout your life? What are you doing throughout your week? When Shabbat come, have you neglected your soul all week? Or is the Shabbat a crown to your week? You get what I'm saying? Have your deeds been righteous? Have your deeds been prosperous in spiritual realm? before we even get on this world. Have your deeds been righteous in the spiritual realm? Because that's what Yahuwah is checking for. Because these bodies going to soon fall off. But that spirit that's in us, that thing don't never die. It either stay with Yahuwah forever or totally different outcome. All stay to Yahuwah. Matthew 19 verse 17. And Yahusha said unto him, why thou callest me good? There is none good but one, that is Yahuwah. But if thou wilt to enter into everlasting life, keep the commandments. Period. Ain't nobody but absolutely all this thing to Yahuwah. The only way to show the love of Yahuwah and to show that we want to get into the kingdom is to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. No question. Now we go to James chapter 4, verse 8. Draw nigh to Yahuwah, and he will draw nigh unto you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded. Whoo, super deep. I'm just going to touch on one or two layers. Draw nigh to Yahuwah, and he will draw nigh to you. Exactly like I was saying. The more you pour that word of Yahuwah in you, the more Yahuwah is willing to dwell with you. Because if we read in the Apocrypha, it tells us that the Ruach HaKodesh, the quote-unquote Holy Spirit, is not going to dwell there with a dark spirit. Why? It's like us. What fellowship of light does light have with darkness? I don't want to be around the old bros. I mean, I still love them, all esteem to Yahuwah, but I can't rock with them the way they out there, living. I can't pull up with them because ain't no telling the rage coming or the Jack boys coming. I can't be in that situation because I don't even, I don't have my own quote unquote protection. So, and I don't even feel right. I slid up on them a couple times early in the walk, but then at the instance, Yahuwah was just like, bro, you can't keep coming around these people. And then lo and behold, a couple things started happening to some people I knew. I was like, dang, I usually would have been right there with them. And with just drawing closer to Yahuwah, those I don't even have that interest no more to go hang out in those certain places that I used to. That's because my whole interest now is getting to the kingdom. That's my first, second, and third ambition. Yeah, I have goals on this earth because we have things that we have to take care of. But my first, second, and third ambition, the main thing that's driving this body is getting to that kingdom of Yahuwah. So all this all this stuff that we facing, man, these things just test to build us up. Remember, King Daud had to fight a bear. Then he had to fight a lion. Then he had to fight a giant. But see, all that was just to build his trust up in Yahuwah. Without Yahuwah, we can't do nothing. But with Yahuwah, through Yahusha, we can do everything. You get what I'm saying? So now, if we don't truly believe that, if we don't go through life obstacles, like I said, I was facing a life sentence at 18. And that's when I came into the name of Yah. And I've been praying to the name of Yah since I was 18. And me facing that life sentence and him pulling me up out of that lion's mouth, the snake's mouth, man, listen, that was the start of great things to come. Because even when I was in the streets, knowing I'm doing stuff I had no business doing, I used to drop on my knees before I left the house and be like, Father Yah, protect me while I go out here. Then when I come home, I'd be like, Father Yah, thank you for letting me make it home. So, Yahuwah always had that just in my heart to just call upon him. I just wasn't really walking in his ways until maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So when I stopped the pork, the shrimp, the lobster, the crab, and started realizing that dang, my actions, stopped the Remy Martin. I had to change a lot of things, man. Stop the music I was listening to, the things I was watching, because all that is your diet. All that projects an image of you, believe it or not. The things you listen to, they pondering, they float around in your head. The things you watch, they float around in your head. And remember, the mind controls the body. So now if you got this toxicity, this pollution floating around in your head, your body gonna carry out those actions. You can't prevent it. You can't help it. Because the mind controls the body. And what you put in your mind controls your mind. So the more you put the word of Yahuwah in your mind, the more Yahuwah controls your mind, and the more you draw closer to the Most High Yahuwah. Because that's what it's all about. Remember, all this thing to Yahuwah. Our whole duty, our whole goal, our whole duty is to keep the commandments. Absolutely. But our whole goal should be sitting next to the king. And that's just what it dwells down to, the marriage supper of the Lamb. Who wants this filth at my table? I'm straight. You just over here trying to have sex with your brother, girl, or cheating on this. No, I don't want you by me, bro. Have a good life. Deuces. You get what I'm saying? And that's how the Most High is. We have a free will. And he didn't make robots. See, Satan out there making robots. Yahuwah is not on that. Yahuwah like, you going to have to choose to come to this party. I'm going to give you the directions. Here you go. The directions is law, statutes, commandments. Follow these directions. You'll show up at the gates. If you don't follow the directions, then you can't get in. Period. You cannot get close to me. I don't want you. I'm not rubbing shoulders with you. I'm Gucci. You can't. I'm straight. Go that way. You get what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. So the more we pour his word into us, the more he pours his spirit into us. But we have actions to take too. Long story short, there's a story in Ezekiel. We told Ezekiel, pray. Ezekiel prayed. Yahuwah was like, do you see anything yet? Ezekiel was like, no, I don't see nothing yet. Yahuwah told him, pray again. He's like, you see anything yet? Ezekiel like, no, I still don't see nothing. So Yahuwah told him to pray that third time. And then he's like, yes, I see something. I see a cloud forming. So now why would Yahuwah, the great king, be right there talking to him and he still didn't see nothing the first 2 times he prayed? That's just showing us faith. Persistence is another word for faith. When you continue and persist in something, that shows, okay, I really believe this is true. So that was a prelude to us to say, listen, okay, when you pray for something once, 2, 3, 4 times and nothing happens, continue to do it. Continue to do it because Yahuwah hears you. You get what I'm saying? And that is more so putting your faith in him. Not like, oh, people falling away. I've been praying and nothing's happened. You done fell away from the Most High. You're not drawn close to him knowing that he is really up there. He got you. Like if I would have fell away from him when I was facing that life sentence, I would have never made it home. You know what I'm saying? And those things that I used to be perfect. One of my bros that I went and did the stuff with, he ended up, when we got out, he ended up calling me on some other foolishness. But, you know, Yahuwah already had took it out of my heart. So when he called me, I was like, I'm going to call you back. I never had intentions to call him back. Guess what? He went and did what he did, got jamped up, caught 22 years. Still in prison right now this day. Don't get out till I think 2023 or something like that, 2024. But been in there for almost for 18 years now. So now, when I am 34, I was about 15, 16 years he been in there. So the point being that if Yahuwah hadn't, even just removed that little part from me at that time, I would have been jamped up right with, bro. You get what I'm saying? So once you let Yahuwah come in, man, Yahuwah take over. He will commandeer that vehicle, and you don't even want to do the stuff you want to do no more. So it's either you draw closer to the world in the word, or away from the world, or draw closer to the world, which is going to lead you away from Yahuwah. And we know the outcome of the world. They're going to end in calamity and destruction. All this thing to Yahuwah. Let's continue on. Jeremiah chapter 29, verses 12 through 14. Then shall ye call upon me, and ye shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. And ye shall seek me and find me, when ye shall search for me with all your heart. And I will be found of you, saith Yahuwah, and I will turn away your captivity. And I will gather you from all the nations, and from all the places where I have driven you, saith Yahuwah. And I will bring you again into the place where I caused you to be carried away captive. All this thing to Yahuwah. Hallelujah. Oh. So now this is just for us as a whole. Once again, he said after we cleanse our hands and purify our hearts, meaning, listen, Father, I'm set on you. I don't care what happened. I don't care what's going on. Prove me, Yahuwah, but I need your spirit to help me do it. That Ruach walking out the whole thing. You get what I'm saying? The spirit is going to always override the flesh if you really want it to. Because it's the spirit that controls the flesh. Just like the spirit of anger. When it comes into someone and they can't control their anger, what do? They lash out. Because that spirit of anger is not controlling that flesh. But if you let the right Ruach come in, that Ruach of Yahuwah, the great Ruach of Shalom and self-control, you don't have to worry about those things. Like, I've been upset and aggravated, but take 2, 3 breaths, it's gone. I don't even know what I was upset about. But before it wasn't like that. It sure wasn't like that. All this thing to Yahuwah. I was ready to, crash. That's just how it was. But now to the point where, listen, I know this ain't nothing but the spirit of aggravation trying to get me to act out, which is going to grieve the Ruach of Yahuwah. And the Ruach of Yahuwah going to leave for that moment. I'm straight. I want peace. You know what I'm saying? I just want to dwell in peace forever. All this thing to Yahuwah, man. Great shalom, man. The shalom that passes all understanding. Meaning that you could be in the midst of quote-unquote hell, and you still like, man, I'm super good. I'm cool. Yahuwah got me. Or you could be in the midst of heaven. Peace. But your mind got you over here, left, right, up, down. You can't sit still. You get what I'm saying? It's a mental state. And your mental state is washed by what you put in it. Or it could be destroyed by what you put in it. All this thing to Yahuwah. So once again, drawing close to Yahuwah is drawing close to his word. Not just videos. Videos are great. Don't get me twisted. Once again. But to get that relationship yourself with the Most High Yahuwah, remember, he is his word. And we're going to get to that. So to truly draw close to Yahuwah, got to be close to that word. That word got to be something that you really want to read. Not just, like I said, I feel like doing this because this and that. I want to do this. I don't even want to do nothing. I don't even got cable. I got internet and Netflix and all that. But I choose what I want to watch. You get what I'm saying? And when I want to watch it. I don't have no shows programming me to when they want to come on. No, I don't even play like that. I set my timing around Yahuwah. Bottom line, period. That's just how it's going to go forever. From now forevermore. It wasn't like that in the beginning. It was hard to keep the Sabbath. Like, dang, is the Sabbath over yet? You know what I'm saying? This was about 3-4 years ago. Like, dang, this thing ain't over yet. But now it's like, okay, Shabbat, rest in Yahuwah. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes the Shabbat even go longer than the scheduled timing. All right, all this thing to Yahuwah. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 22 through 23. Let us draw near Yahuwah with a true heart and full assurance of faith, having our hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water. Let us hold fast to the profession of our faith without wavering, for he is faithful that promised. Hallelujah. So everything he told us, everything he promised us for drawing closer to him, for keeping his word and loving his word and delighting ourselves in his law, like it says in Psalms and Proverbs and a few other places, there's a great reward for that. Even here on earth, but we're really not here for the things here on earth. You know what I'm saying? Because this money is fake. Yeah, we needed to take care of things, but this is crap. Yahuwah gave us rubies, gold, sapphire. You get what I'm saying? Those things are value, minerals of the earth that can literally benefit the human soul. This stuff that we're out here praying for, man, a lot of this stuff is worthless, man. It's crap. And then when we don't get it, we get mad at the Most High, but it was never his will for us to get it. You get what I'm saying? So instead of us realizing that, listen, this is Yahushua told us the harvest is plentiful, but the labors are few. Ask Yahuwah to send laborers into his harvest. That's the whole goal. And Yahuwah will reward us according to how he sees fit. A lot of times riches will turn somebody away. Riches will turn somebody away from the Most High Yahuwah. It's happened plenty of times. Look at King Solomon. You get what I'm saying? It was women, but his riches allowed him to acquire all those women, and then the women led him astray. Because he wasn't drawing near to the word of Yahuwah. He got his wisdom directly from the Most High, but he didn't earn it. You get what I'm saying? He asked for it, and Yahuwah gave it to him, but he didn't go through the steps of building up. It's just like these steroid people who shoot these steroids. You know, they lose their mind. They go on these roid rage because they're not getting it the right way. Same thing with us. If we don't get that word the right way, it's not going to stick. And then we can't even enter into the gates, which is the ultimate goal for somebody like me. All this stuff on the earth. And that's the thing, man. You know, the wickedness that I was into, which is a shame, it allowed me to experience, quote unquote, some of the perks of this earth, of the world, the riches and the stuff that these rappers talking about. Man, Yahuwah allowed me to see some of those things. And, you know, I'm not big talking or anything, but Yahuwah allowed me all these things to Yahuwah. He allowed me to experience some of those things. So now when I look back, like, man, that crap ain't worth nothing, man. So now I can reach out. I had 2 Mercedes, a Camaro on 24. Like, I done touched some money on some real talk. But at the end of the day, when I talk to my bros, now I can let them know, I can relate to them like, bro, I was right there where you at, bro. None of it's worth it. Facing a life sentence, and I was facing a 20-year sentence. All because of what? Fast money, and because I wanted to look a certain way for a certain person who probably don't even know me. You get what I'm saying? And just want me for whatever I got. So on that note, as I'm looking back on that stuff, like, damn, my life was in jeopardy, and my freedom, and my soul. So forget the freedom and the life. That's we know these things gonna perish. But the soul, my soul was in jeopardy, and how blinded to that I was, it was ridiculous, man. Like, I had this attitude where at one point I really didn't care. I didn't really care. But if I would have died at that moment that I didn't care, oh man, I already know where I would have been. But Yahuwah, for whatever reason, I was staying to Yahuwah, said, nah, son, I ain't gonna let you perish eternally. I got something for you. And I thank Yahuwah for that wholeheartedly, man. All the things to the great King, man. So, as it said right here in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 22 and 23. Let us draw near with a true heart, meaning that you want to do this, not that you feel like you have to do it. You got to want to do this. This is truly what I want for the rest of my life. I'm not just doing this because it's a fad. I'm doing this no matter if it's 10 people around me or 500,000 people around me. I'm serving Yahuwah to the grave and for eternity. All this thing to the great King. Do that with your whole heart. Having your heart sprinkled from an evil conscience, meaning washed away from that evilness that we used to be in. And the only way to do that is to draw closer to the word. And our bodies washed with pure water. Now that's where we're going to go to John chapter 3, verse 5. Bodies washed with pure water. Yahushua answered, verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Ruach, or the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of Yahuwah. Hallelujah, Yahuwah. So I've even heard pastors say that you don't have to get immersed, that you don't have to get quote-unquote baptized. It says the exact opposite. If you don't, yeah, he's very merciful. Absolutely. All this thing to Yahuwah. If you don't get immersed, Scripture say you cannot get to the kingdom of Yahuwah. But see, the great thing about Yahuwah, what I noticed, all those who are his, I guarantee you they're going to have the chance to get immersed. And I guarantee they are going to get immersed. Because Yahushua said not one that Yahuwah gave him has he lost. So if we are truly Yahuwah's, we will get in that water. The first time I really did it, I did it by myself. But when I really went into an elder to do it, it was almost a 3-hour drive. But it was well worth the 3-hour drive. Because, you know, they say in the scripts, and quote-unquote some scholars say that immersion is truly the first act of obedience. And it makes perfect sense. Because Acts chapter 2 verse 38 says the remission of sins come from the immersion and the belief in Yahushua HaMashiach. So the remission of sins never take hold on anyone unless they get in that water and wash themselves, symbolically and spiritually. And you know, when I did it that first night by myself, I had caught a cold. It was cold outside, but something just took over me. Like, man, go do it. And I went and did it. I was at the beach. I went to the beach about 10 o'clock at night. It was super cold. Something just came over me, and I stood in the water for a minute and was just talking to the Most High. And the water just started getting warm. And I'm just being 100% real. The water just started getting warm. So as I'm walking into the water, it's feeling more and more warm. So I sat down at the edge and, you know, laid back when a big wave came over me. All this thing to Yahuwah. Got up, caught a cold, but not for 1 second did I regret doing what I did. You know what I'm saying? And that's when a lot of different things just started coming to me back then. I was in the bathroom. Like, at one point, I was in the bathroom for like 8-9 hours at a time studying. You know, with my scriptures, my phone, my concordance. And people say, why the bathroom? It was a very secluded area. Everybody watching TV, listening to music, all that, whatever they doing. It was a very secluded area with just a box. Me and the Most High Yahuwah and all his wisdom. And he was driving me through that thing. And now I can understand, like, because I didn't even understand why I was in the bathroom. I look at the clock, man, 8 hours unpaired, man, what's going on? Dang, now I look back and see what Yahuwah was doing. He was just building me up for us. You get what I'm saying? For me, for me to be an example and a testimony for him that we ain't never too far gone unless we choose to be. Unless we choose to be. Because even when I was out there dealing, you know, doing what I was doing, I always had this conscience like, damn, boy, I know I can't be doing this forever, man. This ain't the way to live. But I was drowning myself with that Remy Martin to keep my conscience from convicting me. I was flooding out that conscience telling me to stop. Because I knew I had no business doing what I was doing. You know, even though people was calling me for the stuff, I'm still handing it to them, knowing that this stuff what it's about to do to them. You know what I'm saying? But that kind of stuff I frown upon. You know, I love my brethren, but I frown upon that with a whole heart. Because, you know, these people have a sickness, and then you go feeding the sickness. You get what I'm saying? For money. Selling your soul for money. That's basically what it is. I thank Yahuwah for removing that from me. All esteem to the King. All right, let's continue on. Once again, except that man be born of the water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of Yahuwah. So if you haven't get immersed yet, now is the perfect time. It's like springtime, summertime coming up, and we don't want to tarry because we don't know when Yahuwah going to show up and pop up and be like, "Bon, here I am." So we got to definitely make sure we get into that water, which once again is drawing closer to Yahuwah by being obedient to his word. All esteem to the great King. Psalm chapter 91, verses 1 through 2. He that dwelleth in the secret place of Yahuwah shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of Yahuwah, he is my refuge and my fortress, my allure. In him will I trust. Big facts. All this thing to Yahuwah. Shalom, sis. Shabbat shalom. Belated Shabbat shalom. Hallelujah. Yahuwah. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. How could we dwell in the secret place of the Most High doing whatever we want to do? That's like we got an army captain or a general or a lieutenant, and he like, come in my bunker, but be quiet. And everybody in there doing what they want to do. The boy might put a bullet in the back of their head right there on the spot. Because you're jeopardizing the people who's with me. You get what I'm saying? You're jeopardizing the others who are being obedient. So you got to get from around here. And that's just how it goes. You cannot dwell in the secret place of the Most High being disobedient to the Most High. Draw closer to Yahuwah by being obedient to his word. And the only way to truly know what his word calls for is to read it for ourselves. Because you have some bros in this truth that's telling people you don't got to keep the law. I seen a whole video. Dude was just, I ain't even watched the whole video. I ain't even going to front, but it was a whole video. Dude was sitting there telling people you can't keep the law. It's a curse. It's a burden. So you say all the ancestors in the scriptures, they was under a curse and they was under a burden by keeping this law of liberty, which means the law of liberty just saying you free from the cares of trying to fit in with this world. I couldn't care less what nobody think about me, man. As long as Yahuwah got me on, super good. You get what I'm saying? At first, my own mama used to call me the devil just because I was pushing the word as it was spoken. You get what I'm saying? Now she's calmed down a little bit. But all the thing to Yahuwah. All the thing to the King. Shalom, Aki. Hallelujah. Yahuwah. My own mother was calling me the devil, and that was hurting. And I understand what Yahuwah was doing there. Now I didn't like, dang, Father, what is this? My own mama calling me the devil? Man, that was a hurtful time, man. And it wasn't really shaking my faith, but it had me like, damn, what's really going on? Am I doing the right thing? And then I began to read some more and realize that that's what they're going to do. They're going to persecute us for righteousness' sake. Now she can't deny nothing because they messed around and put me on a group text. And I be sliding that goodness to them. And they don't respond sometimes, but I know they see it. So now they cannot reject anything that I'm saying because they know that thing is pure. And they used to say, all these pastors can't have it right. I'm wrong, and Zach got it right. Da da da. But now they starting to see for themselves. Wait a minute, something got to be wrong. So Zach is putting this real stuff that's from the Bible. We ain't never heard this. You get what I'm saying? So what's going on? Who do we believe? The Bible or man? So now they starting to say Yahuwah and Yah and all this thing to the great king. But we definitely got to plant those seeds. But I had to get through that. I had to get over that ramp of feeling like F it. Like, man, these people, I ain't even going to try with these people no more. Because that's where I had got. Like, man, I ain't about to try with these people no more. But then I realized where I was at when nobody couldn't even come to me with the word unless I was in jail. Then I picked that book up every time. But before then, you couldn't even come to me with anything about the scripts. That's just what it was. But Yahuwah changed that. All this thing to the great king. All right, so Psalm chapter 91 verse 4. Yahuwah shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. So his truth shall be our shield and buckler. What is his truth? Psalm chapter 119 verse 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Hallelujah. So the only thing that's going to be our shield and buckler is the law. So when people say you can't keep the law, so then you telling me I can't be protected then. That's basically what they're trying to say. How can you tell me, something opposite of what the word says and I believe you? It's not going to happen. All this thing to the great king. It's not being cocky or anything. It's just being confident, and I know who taught me. I know who taught me. I'm gonna just put it like that. I haven't had the time to learn from a man. You get what I'm saying? Like I said, Yahuwah had me secluded in the bathroom. So by the time I got a Facebook in June 2017, I didn't even want to get one, to be honest. But when I got that Facebook and I came on here seeing all these crazy doctrines, these camps, I was like, what is a camp? I never even knew what a camp was until I got on Facebook. So by the time I came on and saw all these different beliefs and different this and that, it was nothing that could shake me. But obviously Yahuwah was planning to use this page for whatever reason. All this thing to the king to be used for his righteousness. I take no credit. So his righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, which his righteousness is the commandments. We can find it in Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 25. And they are everlasting. And his law is the truth. So the only thing that truly protects a person is his truth, is his law. That's our shield and buckler. Being obedient to his law, which again is drawing us closer to him. Dwelling under, under his wings, we shall trust. That's drawing close to him. If you're under his wing, quote unquote, per se, if a bird has a little cub or a little birdie, and the birdie is up under the bird's wing, that bird is close to his mother or his father. That's how we do it. The only way to truly draw close to Yahuwah and be up under that wing is to keep that law in our heart, in our mind, in our heart at all time, man. Big brew fast. That's big fast. And because of that, then we get Psalm chapter 91, verses 7 through 10. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thy eyes shall thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Hallelujah. Yahuwah. Because thou hast made Yahuwah, which is my refuge, even the Most High thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. All esteem to the great king, man. This is a verse when I'm 34 now, when I was like 26 or 25, I was locked up again, man, facing some time due to some violation of probation on some dope charges. And this verse, I remember clearly sitting on the top bunk reading this verse, and I don't know where the confidence came from, but I started watching, the roommates, the dudes in the room get 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, getting sent off to prison. And I just couldn't shake off that verse that Yahuwah had me. At the time it was Yah. Like I said, it was Yah. I've never prayed to God, Lord, or Jesus. All this thing to Yahuwah. Not saying I'm better than anybody that has, but I just thank Yahuwah, that I can say that because some people say, oh, well, you used to pray to him. How do you know you're right now? No, I never prayed to them. I never believed in JC or any of that garbage. No disrespect. But all this thing to Yahuwah. The wicked one is crafty, so it's easy to understand how he tricked people into believing it. So it's not to say someone's stupid or foolish. When you see the truth and ignore it, then that makes you stupid or foolish. But if you're tricked by someone who has great talent to trick someone, you can't really call that person stupid. If you choose to ignore the truth, then that's on you. All this thing to Yahuwah. So 1,000 shall fall at thy side and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. And that is so true. I'm watching, like I said, I'm watching the bros just catch time left and right One bro caught 99 years because he didn't want to tell on his brethren. He was 19 years old, man. Dude probably about 5'3", 100 pounds soaking wet, small little bit of a man. Caught 99 years, literally 99 years, because he didn't want to tell on his cousin. And that's the police. They really wanted his cousin because they knew who his cousin was. And he just ended up getting caught up. And this man caught 99 years for not telling on his cousin. But anywho, that's 1,000 falling at your side, 10,000 to your right, but it didn't come nigh me. I went home. Didn't tell on anyone. You get what I'm saying? That's the great confidence. Didn't tell on anyone. I went home because I used to, even when I used to be in there gambling at the gamble tables, I used to get up from the gamble table and go in the room, close the door, and bow down and worship Yahuwah 7 times up, 7 times down, and say hallelujah. That started my work, and I still do that to this day. Sometimes it's more than 7 times. I was thinking to Yahuwah. But that started at a time before I even was really into the word. I had read it, I think, one time how they, before they went into the gate, the temple to offer to Yahuwah, how the high priest and them would go and bow down 7 times before Yahuwah before they even entered into his presence. And that just felt like a great honor for me to be able to do. So I began to do that. Start what I was doing in the day room, go in the room, shut the door, bow down to Yahuwah 7 times, then start praying to him. And pray for a certain thing. And got exactly what I prayed for every single time. I prayed for, one time I prayed for 8 months and no probation when I was facing 10 years. I prayed for 8 months and no probation. It took me 4 months. I was sitting in there 4 months with no bond. I prayed for 8 months and no probation. Everybody like, boy, you tripping, boy, you on dope, boy, you ain't going home, boy, you jamped up. Because it was a lot of dope charges, but, the way it went, Yahuwah had it so beautiful, man. The way they got me, because they wanted me, they did a lot of plagiarizing documents and all this thing to Yahuwah. The DEA came and they was just really trying to get me off the streets. And Yahuwah had other plans. So anyway, everybody like, boy, you jamped, boy, ain't no way you going home in no 8 months and then no probation. Psh, who you telling? I was praying. And the lady who wanted the 100, Shalom sis, and the lady who was pushing for the 119 months, which is on almost 10 years, out the blue, this last VOP hearing, the VOP hearing where I had no choice but to take whatever they was going to give me, she wasn't there. She just did not show up. All this thing to you. And she left a note in the folder, like, I'm still pushing for the 119 months. 119 months. I kept praying. So she ain't in the courtroom. The prosecutor, because they dropped the charges because I said speedy trial because I know they didn't have no evidence, they had no phone, no money, no dope, no anything. I'm like, man, speedy trial. The prosecutor said, well, wait, it's just a VOP, charges dropped. I don't see no reason to give him all that time. She said, what do y'all want? I said 8 months, no probation. Lo and behold, I got 8 months, no probation. The same thing I was praying for 4 months. I was going to court in between those times of praying, so when it didn't happen, I didn't shake. I kept praying for 8 months and no probation. And lo and behold, I got 8 months and no probation. So mind you, long story short, sorry to get off topic, but I was praying for 8 months, no probation. I got it. The prosecutor said, okay, we'll give him 8 months, no probation. It gets to the judge. The judge like, wait, this man had so forth and so off, dope charges and pistol charges on my record, man, that was the old me, all this thing to you. And she like, wait, you're going to give him 8 months and no probation? The prosecutor was like, yeah. The judge said, okay. You get what I'm saying? So it's stuff like that that just like, wow, that was nobody but Yahuwah. You get what I'm saying? The judge questioned it like she was about to override it. And then the prosecutor said, yeah, we're going to give him that. And the judge said, okay. Can't tell me that wasn't nobody but the Most High Yahuwah. You get what I'm saying? So then, of course, I was already in there 4 months. So all I had to do was 4 more months. Came home scot-free. Buka Tov says, came home scot-free. No probation, no nothing. All this thing to the great king. So that's just the power of prayer and the power of faith. I knew that y'all had me. I just knew I wasn't going to prison for all that time. It's just... I didn't even feel like I was going to prison for all that time. Yeah, it was still scary having it over my head, but then I know who was above over my head, the great King Yah. And all this thing to you, and he came through for me, man. He will come through for all of us. Who, like I said, even though I was still in there doing what I was doing, I was pulling myself away to give him his time. I knew I shouldn't have been at the table gambling, but that's just that was in me at that time. I don't gamble anymore. All this thing to you, But I used to take time out of the crowd and go give it to Yahuwah. Drop on my knees and bow down to him 7 times. Still do to this day. People may look at me crazy, but so what? Who am I here to please? Man, or the one who created man. You get what I'm saying? So now you go to China, you go to China or Arab, where these people worship this big black cube and their statues. They be all down out there in public worshiping their deities, worshiping their devils, right there in front of whoever. But we can't worship the great king in front of somebody. Now I drop right on my knees outside and bow down in front of Yahuwah. Who don't like it? Oh well. You get what I'm saying? I'm not here to please no man. I'm not here to, oh, he's crazy. Okay, yeah, crazy for Yahuwah. Yahuwah fanatic. Big facts. Big Yahuwah fanatic. You better believe it. All the things to Yahuwah. So with that being said, the only way we can, because it wasn't like that. I used to be, hesitant to drop on my knees outside. Not I drop on my knees in front of whoever. It really don't matter to me. You get what I'm saying? And I don't do it to be like, look at me. I do it whenever the Ruach tell me, son, you bow down to Yahuwah. I drop right down the spot. I don't care where I'm at. Just did it the other day. I was outside at a job and dropped down on my, put the saw down, dropped on my knees and said, hallelujah, Yahuwah, thank you. Got up like ain't nothing happened, because it don't matter what they think. It don't matter what they see me do. Yahuwah checking. That's who I'm checking to make sure I'm good with. You get what I'm saying? Not some heathen or somebody who don't understand what Yahuwah doing with me and through me and for me and around me and to me. That's not for them to understand. It's for the great king to understand the same thing with all of us. When we like Big Bro says, that's why I love listening to Big Bro Daoud. That boy say do the righteousness in broad. Ain't no shame. If you can't serve Yahuwah in broad daylight, Yahuwah ain't gonna want you. Remember that. He said you deny my Mashiach, my son, I'm gonna deny you. Same thing. You deny Yahuwah by your own embarrassment. I don't want these people to see me bow down on my knees. They're gonna think I'm crazy. Who gives a beat? I couldn't care less. Go ahead and think I'm crazy. Cause when you see me coming back with the Mashiach, and I'll show you some real craziness then. You get what I'm saying? All the things to Yahuwah. So that's just what it boils down to, man. Do we want to, once again, be close? Do we want to be friends with Yahuwah or friends with the world? What Yahuwah called Abraham, a friend of his. He didn't call everybody in the scriptures that. Because everybody in the scriptures wasn't a friend of Yahuwah. They had some type of embarrassment or shame when it came to Yahuwah. And that's never a good thing to do, man. We got to give it all to the Most High. Remember, He created us. We got to get Yahuwah be esteemed. Like I said, you see my necklace. So, when I go out, this is who I represent. I don't represent the stuff I used to represent no more. So when people say, oh, what does that say? Oh, Yahuwah. Then I can hit them with a little bit of a few gems. Don't give them too much because they can't swallow it. But I hit them with that Yahuwah smoke. And then sometimes it's real tasty to them. Tastes like some smoked beef ribs. Or they spit it out. And it's nothing that is disgusting to them. Either way, I did my part. You get what I'm saying? We aim to please Yahuwah. Big fat sis. That's my only aim. Like an archer. I'm aiming to please Yahuwah through Yahusha forever. All the stand to the king. Alright, we almost done. Couple more passages, man. How to draw close to Yahuwah. Perfect. Psalm chapter 73, verse 27 through 28. All the stand to the king. For lo, they that are far from thee shall perish. Thou hast destroyed all them that go a-whoring from thee. But it is good for me to draw near to Yahuwah. I have put my trust in Yahuwah thy Lord, that I may declare all thy works. Hallelujah. Listen, man, I know some people probably be thinking it be a front, but that joy just take over, man. You just got to dwell in that thing, man. Why push it away? All this, who gives a peep? Big fat, sis. All the things to the king, man. Big fat. So, that joy comes from the more obstacles you overcome in Yahuwah. You get what I'm saying? There was times where I was on the kitchen floor crying like, Father, what else you want me to do? And at that time, I had a real temptation in my face. The rent was behind. And I had this dude that I knew from the streets. And he had just got in contact with my cousin Sean. He told me when I left, because he got out before me. He was like, bro, when you come home, I got you. And, I was still like, all right, bro, bet. So when I came home, it was like around the perfect time. And when I first came home, I was, still doing whatever. But anyway, at the perfect timing, Satan let him creep up in my life. He had got in contact with my cousin, and my cousin got in contact with me. And like I said, rent was behind. He was willing to give me $36,000 worth of product on my face. And, boy, it was hard to turn that thing down. At that time, whew, man, it took so much in me to turn that thing down. All this thing to Yahuwah. So with that being said, if I hadn't gotten planted the way I had got planted by Yahuwah, if I hadn't been through those struggles already with the Most High Yah, I would have failed to that temptation. You get what I'm saying? I would have failed to that temptation and would have been right back out in the world. Probably got my head blew off. Who knows what would have happened? Or caught a life sentence for real. You know what I'm saying? But Yahuwah allowed me to escape. But that took me some crying, some fasting, some begging Yahuwah. Like, Father, help me. I don't want to go back this route. So I saved his number. But after a couple of days of going through it with Yahuwah, I deleted his number. And that was it. That was the last ever. That was like 2 years ago. That was the last ever temptation to even think about that. Once I was able to get past that, the test become easier. Like, there's no way I'm gonna do that. There's no way I'm gonna go out here and have sex with multiple women that's not my wife. There's no way that I'm gonna go out here and sell dope. There's no way I'm gonna go out here and rob. There's no way I'm gonna do these things. It's not going to happen. You get what I'm saying? But it wasn't always like that. All this thing to Yahuwah. So for lo, they that are far from thee shall perish. Thou hast destroyed all them that go a-whoring from thee. Meaning, once again, not close to Yahuwah. Not drawn close to Yahuwah. Going to this other way. Whatever way it was before. The ways of this world. The wicked holidays. The wicked lust. The food. That's a lust. A lust is just a desire. Not necessarily sexual. When you place your physical and carnal lust or desires over what Yahuwah desires, you are no longer drawn closer to Yahuwah. You are drawn closer to your own wickedness or to the wickedness of this world. So the only way to draw close to Yahuwah is to draw yourself away from this wickedness and to know what is wickedness, and to even have the want to draw yourself away from this world is to draw closer to Yahuwah. It's to have to draw closer to the word of Yahuwah. Bottom line, point blank period. If you don't draw closer to the word of Yahuwah, it's going to be a big problem. Perfect example. Psalm chapter 19 verse 7. The law of Yahuwah is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of Yahuwah is sure, making wise the simple. So, without the law of Yahuwah or the testimony of Yahuwah, which is Yahusha, all this thing to Yahuwah, without those two things, it's impossible to draw close to the Most High Yahuwah. You can sit there all day and watch videos. But if your heart is not set upon, like I said, picking the book up and reading it for yourself, in your free time, when you have the time to go to sleep, when you have the time to go to the mall, when you have the time to do those things, that's when you say, nah, Yahuwah, I got you. I'm going to put this to the side. I'm going to put that on the back burner and not Yahuwah on the back burner. I'm going to put this on the back burner and I'll come back to this later. But right now I'm about to feed my soul. And that just goes to show, okay, look at my son. Look at my daughter. Look at my servant. Okay, let me touch you. Give you an extra notch to make it a little bit easier for you. You get what I'm saying? Because it is a difficult walk. But as the more we walk it, the easier it gets. Just like riding a bicycle. The more you ride it, the easier it gets. Same thing with Yahuwah. The more you stay into this law, the easier it gets to walk. So the temptation is nothing to you. You like, I got Yahuwah right here with me, watching over me. There's no way I'm about to do this. You get what I'm saying? There's no way I'm about to do this. So, last verse I have, John chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Yahuwah, and the Word was Yahuwah. Hallelujah. So if the Word is Yahuwah, was Yahuwah, is going to continue to be Yahuwah, the only way to draw close to Yahuwah is to draw close to His Word. Simple. It's like I said, short answer to a long story. Draw close to Yahuwah by drawing close to His Word. Every day, I don't care if it's 10 minutes, 20. You got 30-minute break at work. Most of the people got 30 minutes, an hour, 45 minutes. Take 15, 20 of those minutes and dedicate it to Yahuwah. What's wrong with that? You don't have the time. You got a break. That's what a break is. Now you got the time. So what are you going to give your soul? What are you going to give your mental to? Are you going to give your mental to bettering yourself, drawing closer to Yahuwah, and resting in His wings, and receiving His great promises, and His protection, and His love, and His wisdom, His understanding, His prosperity, so forth and so on? Or are you just going to go, deal with my own thoughts, and this is what it is? Nah, man, I'm going to set mine to the side to Yahuwah because I need Him. I don't care how far I go in this walk. I do care. But I don't care how far I go in this walk, that I'm not ever going to put myself above Yahuwah. I'm not going to ever put my wants and my needs above Yahuwah. Now, you get what I'm saying? It's not going to happen. You got to seek Yahuwah in all things. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 through 6. Trust in Yahuwah. Acknowledge Him in all your ways, and He will direct your path. I be in there brushing my teeth talking to Yahuwah. You know, it's not even just a prayer like one would say. Just talk to the Most High. It's not like He can't hear you. He hears every word that's uttered. It's like He can tune in whenever He wants to. Okay, I hear this person, I hear that person, but your prayer is never late. You get what I'm saying? So the more you talk to Yahuwah, I'll be driving down the street, or I might take a walk down the street. I just be talking to the Most High Yahuwah. And whenever He chooses to answer in the physical realm, let it be so. Sometimes it's just thank you, Yahuwah. Sometimes I spend 20 minutes just thanking Yahuwah, like just walking around, and I'm not even thinking about it. It's just like thank you. When I look back on my life, man, how it looked like it was about to turn out, and then how this thing turning out now, man, I got nothing but praise and thanksgiving to Yahuwah, my Lord, our Lord, man, the Lord of the whole earth, all this thing to Yahuwah. So once again, that just comes from the time that I had the choice to do wickedness, and I chose not to do it. The more of those decisions you make, the more steps you're taking closer to Yahuwah. And once again, the only really know what to really know what's really going on in this world is to draw closer to Yahuwah and read the word. That's the only way you're gonna be able to do it. You can watch videos all day, great, but get that word, pick that book up, pick that book up, pick that book up. Big facts. You know, they tell us to read all these different counsels. Read the word of our Father in heaven. Yeah, they have altered it, but so what? What does John 16:13 say? The Spirit of truth will lead you into all truth. So you don't even need to worry about the lies that's in there. The Ruach gonna be like, nah, that ain't right. Just like in Genesis where it say you can eat whatever you want long as it's moving. Well, that's a bold-faced lie. We can't eat humans. We can't eat snakes. We can't eat rats. You get what I'm saying? So certain stuff, you know out the gate, well, wait, it says that, but that can't be right. Because that Ruach ain't going to let you fall down that drain. It's going to hold you up every single time. And the only way, once again, to draw close to Yahuwah is to draw closer to that word, man. Delight yourself in the Most High Yahuwah, and He will delight Himself in your prosperity. As simple as that. And once again, anytime you hear me say prosperity, I'm not just talking financially. I'm talking spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. You get what I'm saying? All those is prospering. Because you can have $100 million in your bank account but be dead in your mind and jump off a building. Then leave nobody the money. What worth was that money? You get what I'm saying? It had no worth to it at all whatsoever. So all this thing to Yahuwah, true prosperity is in drawing close to Yahuwah. Bottom line. And I won't ramble on anymore. Thank y'all for joining. All this thing to Yahuwah, Barak the King, and may y'all have a magnificent day, and may Yahuwah be with y'all and continue to guide y'all us all into His eternal salvation through Yahushua HaMashiach. Barak Yahuwah, Barak all y'all in Yahushua HaMashiach name. Shalom, Mishpat.